To you as my children, if I were asked to make suggestions, I would say quietly to our government, move fast. Move diplomatically. Move wisely. Find a way to convince the President of America to please delay his actions for about 100 days. And then come home. And tell our security chiefs get rid of these terrorists within 90 days or resign.
And we all swore before men and God to defend that Constitution. And the most potent part of that Constitution states that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Today, Mr. President, there is no security, not to talk of welfare. And you need to be alive to even enjoy welfare. I think we should take these things beyond the rhetorics of presentation on daily basis. We are behaving as if we have kerosene flowing through our veins and not blood. Most elites in this country, from the president to the least appointed, are protected by police and mobile police and even the army. Who is to protect the common man on the streets? Who is to protect the palm wine tapper in Humuleri? Who is to protect the Baduku in Marafa? Who is to protect the poor farmer in Ogbomoso? Mr. President, we should outgrow rhetorics and sensational presentations and call a spade a spade. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria must show capacity as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And if we need international support, we should say so on time. If we need international collaboration, we should do so on time. And we should not just be concentrating on creating funds for the army and the other military without looking at the police. Intelligence gathering in this country is dead. Events will happen, there will be signals that they will happen, and they will happen, and there will be no remedy. Mr. President, before the masses begin to chase us, before they begin to destroy our vehicles and our homes, I think it is time we act and make hay while the sun shines. You, the leadership of the Senate, I am advising and suggesting that you move and see the president. Let the president understand the magnitude and intensity of what is happening. We want to see a working security program. We want to see a decisive, pragmatic approach to this problem. We cannot just continue to have sensations on pages of newspaper and we are not seeing actions on ground. People are dying. Thank you, Mr.
His Excellency Asuwaju Tinubu Jagaban and Alhaji Asari Dokubo. And they hear when our people they talk say men dey. where they talk say men they on a men in day. Jai, our Christians see us Muslims, then they love themselves. Men they, Christians they die. Men they, bandits they kill Nigeria. Men they would not be got that Tinubu say, money make Nigeria better. Men they when it go happen, men go they find where they won't go hide. They go leave problem for innocent people head. Please, I'm pleading on behalf of all the children in Nigeria. I beg do not Trump, not my people when they don't say men do. Because men know they're watching them man na in do.
Hello, President Trump saying they come Nigeria. He told the video yesterday, my heart do bing. My heart do bing. President Trump said he's coming to Nigeria. Me just they wake up. I just they wake up, go check whether I sleep. I didn't see the post. Joel, how are you? My hardworking security man. Please, Nigerian government, sit up. Sit up. I don't know whether Narapa will take go fight for you. Sit up. More than no laugh. It's serious. So that's why we go to laugh. They use them catch crew. The next thing we go here na beam. Now the first come up for Abuja because Abuja and Kaduna no far. Yes. Sit up. Tackle insecurity. Take out this insecurity. Do something that the world will see that you are working. Because right now, hey, I cannot even defend you. Look at this man. Killed by Fulani herdsmen yesterday. God no let my nakedness dey public. I dey beg all of you now. Tag Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Tag Seyi Tinubu. Beg them to sit up and do right by Nigerians. People that are in America, them today know they talk say this man go to true come. Oh, he doesn't just talk for free. I don't even want to laugh. It's a serious situation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you no go good thing at your time. Now history can happen. Alright. Instead of the cronies now, immediate people to tell them say, Augusta, please, let's find a way to do something so that things will get better. They are going there to tell him, and they are coming to see our resources. They are coming to steal our resources. Hey. Alright. I'm not gonna talk. Baby, how are you? Come and say hi to the camera. Come and say hi to the camera. Say hello, baby. Say hi, people. Alright, guys, please, right? Let's tag Tinubu. I just they wake up. Sorry, I don't greet now. Good morning, trenches. Let's tag Tinubu. Let him do right by us. The world is watching now. Shall we go they complain, and you think these people will not do anything, even if they have a ulterior motive? At this point, Nigerians do not care. Our Senate is not even helping matter. When they are there, they don't know what to deliberate on. The one will go internet, he go talk about polygamy. The other one go to the other place, they are so disorganized.
Was one imam a few years ago who was honored for hiding, God knows, countless number of Christians
in his mosque in Plateau.
Who are the people hunting those Christians? The only thing that qualified them for death was their faith. And their faith is linked to their ethnicity. Because as I told you at the beginning, religion is a matter of identity in northern Nigeria. That's why the northern Christian is not the same as the southern Christian. All these pentirascals in Lagos and everywhere can be lying about whether there is genocide or no genocide. The Ekwa pastor who is burying his church members and tribesmen in droves, he knows what is happening to him. When he knows that he can't even go back to his ancestral land without risking death, he knows that it is genocide. So I don't need Trump to tell me what I have seen and heard within, and I have been using the word genocide to describe what is happening in Nigeria for close to 10 years. Then all of a sudden, people whose ears were blocked and were not listening are suddenly listening. It's not because they care. They don't need Trump to tell them what's happening in their country. They are complicit in what is happening in their country. That they are certainly bleating now is because they know that all of a sudden somebody crazier than them is asking questions of them, not because something strange is being told to them. They are already aware of the fact of the killings, and if they don't want to call it a genocide, they don't want to call these things massacres, even though they themselves have been directly complicit. They were there in Lekki, they were there in Zaria. So it's nothing new. These are persons exercising the powers of impunity extended by the Nigerian state and the insurance that comes with that nothing will happen, they can do as they care. No consequences. How many of these murderers are in prison? Instead, they will say they are repentant. Where have you ever heard that nonsense in the world? Repentant terrorists. You are calling people bandits. You are calling genocide farmer headers clash. What nonsense? Which farmer is clashing? How can a farmer who holds nothing be clashing with somebody carrying Kalashnikov and M16 rifles? And they are calling it farmer headers clash. And you find government persons peddling that idiocy. If Trump is the one that has put a bee in their bonnet, I'm happy to see them running around and is as it should be. And there really is very little that is unique about our situation. What is unique is that for the first time, somebody has spoken and our government is listening. So what I was saying in essence is very simple. Don't come into Nigeria gun blazing. But there are sufficient body of laws within the international community that should serve as sufficient to deal with the situation he was describing. If you say there is a genocide, you have more than enough to work with. And I can't recall a single place that America has gone gun blazing that has had a happy ending. So I wasn't looking for anything gun blazing, but the fact that they are complicit persons is beyond argument. Beyond argument. And so if America is really that keen on helping us, I would imagine that those are the kind of help that they can extend to us that wouldn't even create any mess of. There will be no need to come gun blazing. I'm not focusing on Trump's language. I'm focusing on the failure of our own government and the serious failure of the Nigerian state.
Well then, Mr. Farotimi, let's talk about that failure. Do you think there's a Christian genocide in Nigeria?
Let me put it this way. Religion is a matter of identity in northern Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians are completely ignorant about the history of religion in northern Nigeria. So if it quacks like a duck, walk like a duck, we should surely be able to call it a duck. That is what has been happening all this while, and these communities have been screaming and screeching all this while, and the reality is that we are all lying to ourselves if we do not admit to the fact that Christians are targeted, particularly in the Middle Belt and in northern Nigeria. Deborah Joseph is not an animist. An entire community found the grace to be silent when a young woman was murdered and burnt within the confines of a higher institution. What has happened? When those persons were charged to court, how many people came out to offer free legal services to them? What has happened to them? Where is the accountability? Where is the accountability? And then they speak to a genocide and we want to quibble about it. Let's leave the name they want to call it. These are human beings that are dying. What about Mr. Jackson? A man was attacked on his own farm. He struggled and managed to free himself. The attacker still pursued him. He killed his attacker with the attacker's knife. Our Supreme Court deemed that a murder. You have a system that discriminates deliberately, and then we are still quibbling. Let's leave the terminologies and all of that and focus on the facts. Whether the person is Muslim or Christian, Fulani, Ijo, Yoruba, Lantan, it does not matter whether he's Atia. The important thing is that this person is not only human, he's a Nigerian within the Nigerian space, and the Nigerian state has serially failed him.
To maintain this topic, because I need to stress a point here. Ever since Trump made the announcement that Nigeria has become a country of particular concern, the response that the administrators of this country have given to Trump's remark is disturbing. Rather than prefer immediate and swift solution to the glaring problem, the Nigerian Security Agency and Nigerian administrators have engaged in denial tactics, trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to play down the severity of the situation. First of all, there are two things that the Nigerian government is trying to downplay: that there is no genocide and there is no deliberate attack on Christians. Now, that is a deliberate mischief and a calculated wickedness on the part of the Nigerian government. That Christians are tolerant in Nigeria doesn't make them stupid. That Christians are that's the only word I can come with now, tolerant, doesn't make Christians in Nigeria stupid. Now, imagine, do you recall when 16 Northerners were unalived in Benin? Do you see the type of reaction that the North gave for just 16 16 northerners who are mostly Muslims that were unalived. You saw the reaction. Now imagine if the reverse were the case and that Christians in the south were unaliving 500 Muslims, 200 Muslims, 30 Muslims. Imagine the chaos that the country would have turned into. What does it take to become genocidal? What does it take to affirm a genocide has occurred? Genocide is a deliberate attempt to wipe out a particular race or religion. Deliberate attempt to wipe out a race or religion. So, by this definition, is there a genocide in this country? Of course, this genocide has been going on. I think it is the reckless abandonment with which the unaliving has taken form that has necessitated the intervention of America. Because if America had not made a statement, of course, it's almost as if we are getting used to the fact that Nigerian lives really doesn't matter. Even as at yesterday in Plateau State, people were unalived on the basis of their faith. To say that people are not being unalived because of their religion is to add insult upon injury on the reality of the situation. I feel so pained that we cannot call a spade a spade. This chess game, or rather this Ludo that Nigeria is playing with the life of Nigerians, must stop now. There is a deliberate and calculated attempt to annihilate and reduce the population of Christians in Nigeria, paving way for the Islamic agenda. Period. I'm not saying every Muslim in Nigeria have this agenda, but there are some extremists in Nigeria who have this very particular agenda in their mind. And guess what? They are in politics, they are in governance, they are in top echelon of administrative offices in Nigeria. They are part of our decision makers. America knows it. That is why when one terrorist is arrested, calls come from high places that they should be left. Imagine for over 15 years that people are being unalived. Not one person has been arrested. Not one person has been shot or gunned down for this heinous, atrocious crime. Not one. Doesn't that tell you that government is complicit? The late Abacha said, if insurgents exist more than 24 hours, government is complicit. That's exactly what we are saying. For instance, I've always asked the question, why is Tinubu silent? Could there be a pact he entered with these people that, well, I'm going to do my own part, don't touch our own agenda? Is that what is happening? For me, anybody who is against the intervention of America is evil and malicious. It's the devil and it's has a malicious intent. This senseless unaliving of innocent Nigeria must stop. Yes, some Muslims are also casualties, but there are those that don't like, don't like what is going on. Those are interfaith wars. You understand me? The extremists are targeting the liberal ones. That's what is happening. But to neutralize the effect of Christian death, to say that it's not just Christian, it's Muslim, it's just trying to play politics or play two-face with the reality of the situation. My prayer is that I am not doing this video because I'm a Christian. I'm doing this video because I hate the loss of lives. Whether it's a Muslim life or a Christian life, every life matters. These senseless killings must stop. And if Nigeria wants to play politics with it, then we actually need a foreign intervention.
You see, as a Nigerian, if you have never ever be grateful for one thing, I mean, if you are a well-meaning Nigerian, if you've never ever be grateful for one thing, but for at least be grateful for President Donald Trump of the United States of America for issuing the threat or the promise he has made to come into Nigeria to salvage the situation. Even if they end up or eventually end up not coming into this country, they've already done so much more than the Nigerian government could ever have done in their entire existence. So many things has come to limelight and many are still coming. Now, let's start by this issue of government officials and their lies. Because it is obvious, the world now know that Nigerian government is complicit in the terrorism in Nigeria, right? I saw this news. It says the Chinese ambassador, I'm waiting to call him. It said Chinese ambassador meets Nigeria NSA, that is Nigeria National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, pledges support to fight terrorism. That's what you are saying here now. And my question now is this. Which support? Do Nigeria government actually need support? Of course they don't. Because firstly, even as we speak now, they are still denying that there is no genocide, there is no killing of people in Nigeria. That the narrative that Donald Trump is acting upon is a false narrative being propagated by the opposition political party. That's what they are saying. So somebody that is telling you that they don't have a problem, nothing is happening, which support are you going to give to such a person? I'm asking the Chinese now, because who I no longer understand their interest in this matter. You are pledging support to the government to fight terrorism, and the government has told you there is no terrorism in their country, or even there is, it's minimized, it's not a problem. So what are you supporting? Even the Chinese, you say you want to support the Nigerian government, and I've seen the government officials, some of them, most especially Yeson Wike, say if America is coming to support Nigeria with technology, he will support them. Do Nigeria actually need support? What support does Nigeria need that they've never gotten? There is none. Nigeria have gotten all the support. How has it ended? Look at the news I'm displaying again now. This is coming from a US lawmaker. He said Nigeria has got billions of dollars in military assistance, yet failed to address killings. Could not protest Christians. Because I don't know why America is so much concerned about Christians. This is the religious part I don't enjoy, I don't like. They are destroying Nigerians. That should be the word. Don't be particular about a certain religion. It doesn't make any sense. So a US lawmaker is telling the world that Nigeria has gotten billions of dollars in military assistance, but yet failed to address the taking of lives of Nigeria. So which support can you possibly give to Nigeria in a crime that they are part of? It doesn't make sense. Okay, look at the killings in Benue. What happened in Benue? It is no longer news that the authority, both the federal government, down to the state level, down to the local authority in Benue, knew well in advance before the attack. Even a day to, they were notified. And what did they do? Nothing. Obviously nothing. So you are still there believing that Nigeria they need help. When they get help, they will. Nigeria need help to cut Gumi to size. Nigeria need help when Boko Haram come out in the broad daylight and they were warmly received in the peace negotiation or in the peace whatever. So I don't get it. Now, the whole world is actually seeing Nigeria for who they really is. They are even seeing Nigeria now better than Nigerians know. Let's watch this video.
You cannot ignore the fact that there is Nigerian government complicity with these attacks. You saw some of our journalists in the documentary. We wanted to be an organization that tells the truth about what's happening in Nigeria, hence truthnigeria.com. I want to just kind of let everybody know and help you understand how Nigerian news works. If a Nigerian government official does not call for a news conference, the event did not exist. So in order for the narrative to get to the mainstream media, get picked up by Al Jazeera, get picked up by CNN, everything else, it comes from a Nigerian government source. From the very beginning, they determine the narrative. The reporters regurgitate the government narrative. We decided to be a voice and try to help change that paradigm and created Truth Nigeria to document what is actually happening. How many of you guys know that there were 10 Christians killed in Kaduna just the other day? How many of you know that there were 30 Christians killed in Plateau just a week ago? How many of you know that besides the 280 Christians that were killed in Yellowwater on June 13th, we are now about over 500 Christians that have been killed total since Yellowwater? No one knows. The media is not reporting it. Well, that's why we formed Truth Nigeria, to talk about what is going on. But also, what we pointed out in the documentary that I'd like everybody to realize is that Truth Nigeria had information that the attack on Yellowwater was going to occur 3 weeks before the attack happened. Now, when we get a terror alert, we find information, we know attacks are going to occur, our method is we issue a terror alert on our website, truthnigeria.com, but we also immediately call the local authorities. We notify the Nigerian military, the DSS, the Nigerian government, to let them know this is what we found out, this is our intelligence. Now, a day before the attack, we got word that there's movement happening. They are mobilizing, and they are coming for Yelawada. So the day before, our team notified the government, the local authorities, the army, the police, and said, hey, there's movement, they're coming, watch out. What happened? Absolutely nothing. The government stood by and did nothing.
So I'm sure you heard that. You were able to understand the English, right? You heard everything that man said. Nigerian government think they can lie, whereas there is a searchlight from within and outside this country seeing the activities that is going on. Now, from everything the white man said in that video, one thing we must all look towards. We must focus on this area, and that is the area why Nigerian government is so bittered towards social media. When you see the Sultan of Sokoto, any other person who has called for the destruction of social media, this is the reason why you must mark them as a principal enemy to the progress and betterment of Nigeria. Now, the part he said that took me so much is when he said, if the Nigerian government official did not call for a news conference, the event did not exist. As far as the Nigerian government is concerned, they believe that if it is not coming from them, then it doesn't happen. This is exactly why they hate the social media. See, you as a Nigerian, whenever the Nigerian government tamper with the social media, I don't know what to say, but just be ready. Because if not for social media, we are finished. This is what they are observing from outside. Because the Nigerian government lies a lot. They always want to dictate the narrative. They want it to be that is what they tell you that you project to the mainstream media, and that's what flies. And they lies a lot. They don't know how to say the truth. It's really unfortunate. Oyibo see us, they see us finish. They know us. Before America and Donald Trump decide to step in, they already know. They know better. So for those of you saying Nigeria need help, Nigeria don't need help. Give Nigeria all the weapons in America to fight Boko Haram. They will hand them over to Boko Haram and still be begging to negotiate with them. A failed country is a failed country. Nigeria, under this Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I've never seen a government this bad.
This is the worst government